What's going on, everyone? So I want to play a quick game, okay? Who's a player that is going to make 40 plus million a year and can't play more than like 60 games a season? Give you a second. I want you to lock that down in the comment section before I reveal who that player is. Ready? 3, 2, 1. I think I gave you enough time. If you said Zach Lavine, you would be incorrect because the correct answer is Lauri Markkanen. Now, the reason I mention this is because I have talked heavily about trading for Zach Lavine and how I really like the idea of adding Zach Lavine to the Lakers roster. Now, Lauri Markkanen is a player that everyone seems to want. Everybody seems to look past the fact that he's about to get a max contract and he's going to make 40 plus million a year on that max contract, and the injury history. The two biggest things that I hear about Zach Lavine regularly, and as to why we shouldn't trade for Zach Lavine, I'll then in return hear the same people say we need to go and trade for Lauri Markkanen. Lauri Markkanen is the missing piece that we need to win a championship. But again, Zach Lavine is 29. Lauri Markkanen is 27. Both are going to be making, I think Lauri Markkanen will be making more money. And here, let me just read off the last 5 years or so of Lauri Markkanen on the basketball court. 55 games, 66 games, 61 games, 51 games, 50 games, 52 games, 68 games. The most he has ever played in his career was his rookie season in which he played 68 games. Not this year, but the previous year, he did play 66, which was the most he had played up until that point, right? Okay, now let's look at Zach Lavine. Do the same thing. Do last 7. Zach Lavine last year played 25 games. Not good. But he played 77 games, 67 games, 58 games, 60 games, 63 games, 24 games. It's not good. He did have an 82 game season and a 77 game season, and then a 47 game season. So their games played are incredibly similar, right? Now you could argue, okay, with Lauri Markkanen that, Utah sat him a couple games longer than he had to because, they were trying to tank stuff. But you could say the same thing about Zach Lavine, right? Zach Lavine was supposed to finish out the season, which means he would have played, 50-something games, and he decided, I don't want to go to Detroit, right? And decided to stick around and just opted for surgery, right? Zach Lavine and Lauri Markkanen both would be excellent alongside LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Both guys are excellent off ball. Both guys can put the ball in the hoop. Now, there are arguments for both sides, right? Lauri Markkanen is 7 feet. You can't teach that. You could slot him at the 3. You could slot him at the 4. You could even slot him at the 5 at times, right? I wouldn't really do that. He's not really a 5. He's kind of more of a 3, on occasion 4. But his size and his length, you can't teach. On the other end, Zach Lavine and his explosiveness, his ability to just go get a bucket, right? Lauri Markkanen needs more setup. Zach Lavine, you can just hand the ball to and he can just go to work. I mean, the guy played 25 games last year and still had a 50-point game. Guy can light it up, right? Both guys, Zach Lavine has been one of the best off-ball scorers, shooters in the league the last few years, right? They both have their pros and cons. Here's the difference to me, though. Because, again, say all things are equal. As far as, they're 2 years difference in age, but they both have this relatively the same exact injury history. They have the same exact level of games that they've played. They both would play a similar role alongside the Lakers, right? So, again, let's say the pros and cons. One team or one trade would cost you everything you have. Austin Reeves, all of your draft picks, you'd have to sell the farm to go get Lauri Markkanen. Now, right now, Lauri Markkanen is easy to trade for because he's only making 19 million or whatever. Let's call it 20 to be safe, right? Because Lakers have to send in more salary than they can take back, right? So you wouldn't have to give up as many players to go get Lauri Markkanen, but you would still have to give up all of your picks. I mean, you're talking both your firsts. You're talking all of your pick swaps, so 3 pick swaps, right? And you're probably talking all your seconds plus Austin Reeves plus Dalton Connect. right? Because they're going to want everything. They're already getting offers from teams that are as good, if not better, than that package. So you'd have to literally sell the farm for Lauri Markkanen, right? And he's going to be under contract longer than Zach Lavine. At least Zach Lavine, you take his money and he can get off of it. Now people go, oh, well, the trade value, right? Well, Lauri Markkanen would have trade value. Not necessarily. He has trade value right now at 18 million, right? 19 million, 20 million, whatever. Who knows what his trade value is if he can't stay healthy, and he's now making 40 plus million. That takes 90% off teams on market. I mean, right now, Lauri Markkanen's market is limited. Right? I mean, it's not like every team in the league is trying to trade for Lauri Markkanen. Those teams are looking to trade for him are only like a handful of teams. But more than half of those teams would be completely out of the equation if Lauri Markkanen was making 40 plus million. So you're still going to kind of be stuck with either or. Now, I do think that there is a genuine argument that Lauri Markkanen might have more value long term. But again, Zach Lavine has a shorter term contract compared to, because you're going to have to. Lauri Markkanen doesn't have the contract yet. You're going to have to pay him that, right? Anywhere he goes, he's trying to get the max. He wants the max, right? So you're giving him, 45 plus million a year. Right, so you're talking about a guy that you're going to have to pay, 40 million plus, right? And then on top of that, sell the entire farm to give that guy away when you can actually get assets in a trade for Zach Lavine. Like literally, the Bulls are willing to give you assets in order to take Zach Lavine, who now you get to keep all of your assets. Yes, you have to trade, an extra player or two to get there, but still, like, you're going to have to trade for Lauri Markkanen. Again, you're going to have to trade like Austin Reeves and probably a Rui or something, right? Maybe they take D'Lo just because he's expiring. But even then, you're trading those two guys minimum to go get Lauri Markkanen. And then now you could do and keep Reeves, do D'Lo, do Rui, do a Gabe Vincent, get off of their salaries and their launch, bring in a guy like a Zach Lavine and get assets that now you can go and pivot to trade for a Walker Kessler or trade for a Wendell Carter Jr. or something. That might be a little tougher, but you could still get there, right? So to me, it's like one route is that's it. You trade for Lauri Markkanen, that's it. You're not going to be able to pull off any other trades anytime soon because all of your assets have now gone to the Utah Jazz, right? That's it. Assets gone. The other side gives you more flexibility long term. You now get to retain your assets and can still go pivot and make a trade, right? It just, to me, it's like, I think it's a no-brainer. Right? I like Lauri Markkanen a ton. If the Lakers got Lauri Markkanen, I would be stoked. But I'd also be stoked about Zach Lavine. And it's funny because I see so many people talk about Lauri, we got to get Lauri Markkanen, sell the farm to get Lauri Markkanen, whatever you do, you got to get Lauri Markkanen. But then those same people say, stay away from Zach Lavine. Zach Lavine, he's not worth his contract. He's not worth it, the injury history. But again, Lauri Markkanen is going to have a very similar contract and has the same injury history, right? Like, again, it doesn't make sense to me. Even if you think Lauri Markkanen is the better player, how much better is he than Zach? Is he all of your assets better? And not only is he all of your assets better, but he's all of your assets plus the assets that you would have gotten in the Zach Lavine trade because you don't get those no more. Right? Like, again, you're talking about something that it's like, it doesn't make sense to me. I really was sitting here thinking about it and I'm just like, why would anyone be so adamant about getting Lauri Markkanen over Zach Lavine? Now, outside of, again, the 7-foot thing, but he's not a true 7-footer. No, if he was like, like a Walker Kessler, right? Like 7'1", bruiser, But man, he could step out and shoot three ball the way that he can, and play off ball the way that he can, and do the things that Lauri Markkanen can do. I'd be like, yeah, it's a no-brainer to me. Go get Lauri Markkanen. But he's not. Again, he is more of a he's closer to being 6'7" than he is being 7'1" or whatever he is, right? Like, because again, he doesn't play as this like physical bruiser guy. Now, he would help with the rebounding. Again, he is really good off ball. It's not that he won't fit. It's not that he's not 7 feet. But to me, it's like if you could get a Zach Lavine, get assets, then use those assets as a enticement to go get, again, a Walker Kessler, or go get a Wendell Carter Jr., or get another piece or two. Like, why wouldn't you want to do that when, if you trade for Lauri Markkanen, that is it. That is it. For like the next couple years, that is it. Because now the Lakers don't have any more tradable picks. Right? Like, so to me, it's like you're selling the farm for a guy, Lauri Markkanen, who, yes, I think makes you a lot better, but how much better does he make you than Zach Lavine? Okay, and then now answer, how much better does he make you with Zach Lavine than Zach Lavine plus a Kessler, plus a Wendell Carter, plus a whomever else the Lakers can get, right? Like, to me, it's a no-brainer. I just think you go with Zach Lavine. Again, their games played are nearly identical. Zach Lavine is actually, if you remove this past season, which again, we don't know how many games he actually would have played because nobody knew he was going to have surgery. Like, the Bulls didn't even know. They were shocked. He just didn't want to go play for Detroit. So if you remove this season, right, like, Zach Lavine's played more games the last 7 years. Like, so again, it's just, to me, they're both going to have very similar contracts. They're both going to have this injury history. I just think you go with Zach Lavine. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? If you disagree with me, I would love to hear your kind of thought process as to why. Because again, you can't say, oh, Zach Lavine is injury prone and Lauri Markkanen isn't, because he's played just as many games, right? He's played actually fewer games. So you can't use the injury excuse. You can't use the contract excuse because Lauri Markkanen's getting the same type of contract. Like, what real benefit is there? With Zach Lavine, you can get more. You get more assets that then you can use to go make other trades. You're probably stuck with either regardless. Zach Lavine, you'd just be stuck with a little less longer. But again, how do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.